Mat Cauthon is one of the main three Wheel of Time boys, and arguably the number one fan favorite. If you look in my comments section on the summaries that I've done and people requesting character examinations of everyone left in the Wheel of Time, he is the number one most requested. And this is due to him being an incredibly charismatic, interesting character that develops in interesting ways. While someone like Randall Thor's development is very apparent in personality and behavior, Mat's development is much more subtle throughout the series. That being said, he doesn't really develop for the first three books because he's demonically possessed for the most part, and we don't really get a whole lot from his perspective, and he's kind of not really the same Mat that wakes up in the White Tower. Now, that Mat who wakes up in the White Tower is awesome. We get a whole new character, in my opinion, and I think there was kind of a conscious realization of Robert Jordan kind of being like, Mat's pretty bland, I might as well just restart. And so he kind of does. Yes, Mat was mischievous before, but the real personality that's there after his awakening is, to me, very different. And I could be wrong, but it seemed very different to me. We see him kind of having an unwitting conversation with one of the Forsaken where he handles himself very well, and then going and just beating the shit out of two of the most unlikable characters in all of the Wheel of Time at that point, which are Gawain and Galad. Yes, they redeem themselves a little bit later, but they're still very hateable at this point, and it's great to see Mat do what he does so well. For me, it's one of the top three moments of the Wheel of Time series, but that's a side note. Let's move on. Mat learns of his own luck factor at this point and the unreal ability he has to pull and tug on the pattern in all kinds of unconscious ways, to the point where he's borderline unkillable. We see knives that should go straight through his chest happen to hit a necklace and break. He throws himself off a bridge with an assassin and lands perfectly on the assassin with the assassin's own blade in the assassin, throws knives blindfolded and hits blocks of wood. He'll twirl in the dark and just walk in the direction he needs to go. He'll win every game of dice ever, unless him winning results in a big brawl or something, or a fight, or being accused of cheating, then he loses perfectly. And Mat is not the kind of person who's afraid to abuse this power. He absolutely makes a whole fucking lot of money, and if he went to Vegas, he'd make hundreds of millions in a night, and he'd be fine with it. And you know what? He's so charismatic and likable, you're fine with it too. Even though he's really taking money from maybe not the wealthiest people, especially at the beginning. But that's the beauty of Mat's character. He's the gambler who, well, yes, he's a good guy, he's also very self-centered, at least for the beginning third of the series. He is also probably, while being so self-centered, one of the most selfless characters in a very paradoxical, believable way. He's willing to strap explosives to his back and climb a stone wall and set off those explosives to go rescue some people who have never really treated him well. He'll take the time to pull a drunken gleeman out of his stupor to go on an adventure he knows the gleeman needs to go on to get out of this self-pitying wallow. But most importantly of all, Mat really expects nothing in return except for a thank you. That's pre-Aiel Waste Mat. During the Aiel Waste, Mat goes through some horrific things that certainly change him as a character, but his mind is now filled with countless memories from people who have lived some of the most tragic lives, military men. Mat now has memories of leading men, dying in battle, being tortured, probably dying of sickness and torture and all kinds of unbelievable pain that he has vivid memories of. This results in him being one of the best military leaders alive, but also probably having one of the most tragic inner consciouses ever. I couldn't imagine having memories floating around of dying again and again and again. But after the Aiel Waste, Mat takes a turn, and this turn is a result of responsibility. He, through a lot of weird circumstances, becomes a military leader to a group of men who are die-hard loyal to him. And this responsibility, while Mat kind of tries to avoid it at first, becomes something he cares about enormously. And this responsibility, while Mat tries to avoid it at first, becomes something that he cares about a lot, especially the respect. Mat doesn't understand the military lifestyle that well. He never enjoys it, and he doesn't get why his men do, and he sees the responsibility of their dedication to him as something he must live up to. And in the last half to third of the book, Mat really transitions from a mischievous kid to a military leader with a great sense of humor. There are still moments where we get the childish Mat kind of coming back. There's a great reunion with him and Perrin where that's kind of amplified to a 10, but the scoundrel prankster is dead. What you have now is a very charismatic, brilliant gambler battle king. Someone who, without a doubt, is the greatest military mind in the world that he's in. And this continues the themes of the luck abuse, where Mat abuses this power as well. He wins battle after battle and crushes his enemies. He doesn't see it as cheating or anything like that. That's never even a thought in his head. Because for him, it's not about the glory of being the best general. It's about serving his soldiers the best he can. The gambling thing's just kind of for him, though. And there are two aspects to Mat's character I'm not a big fan of. His relationship with Oliver, which I've made my opinion on child characters clear in the past. To summarize that, I don't like them. And his relationship with Tuon. I thought it was a great concept that had a whole lot of potential and certainly had very good moments, but never really lived up to what it should have been. It was one of the least interesting romances for me in the Wheel of Time, and that's entirely a personal opinion. I don't think it's a bad romance at all, it just didn't fit into what interested me. And while Mat certainly has some of the funniest moments in the Wheel of Time, what really sticks to me is how often he has some of the most tragic as well. Mat loses people close to him more frequently than anyone else in the series, and he always handles it very well. He never shirks his responsibilities as a result of loss, but he still lets himself feel whatever loss needs to be felt. He respects the dead tremendously, and if Mat feels he's responsible for that person's death at all, the weight of it will be on his shoulders forever. At random times in the series, books after someone has died, Mat will take a moment to think about that person. That's detail and attention to character development that I really appreciate in the Wheel of Time, because not many other characters do that. That is almost exclusively a Mat thing, for him to really take a moment that's not just the name coming up in his head, but remembering who died. My favorite thing about the character of Mat is the difference between the beginning and the end, because you don't have some crazy alteration in the same way that you do with Rand. What you simply have is the growth of a child into a man. Someone who's willing to take responsibility for his action and understands his position in the world, regardless of how he got there. That's pretty much everything I have to say about Mat. He is certainly a character that I have mixed feelings on in a lot of ways, because while there are some of my favorite moments of the Wheel of Time with him, there are also some of my least, mainly because of Oliver. That is the character examination I'm putting out for Mat. I hope you guys are having a good one. Sorry I missed a few days of videos. It's just been a hectic week at work. Please like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. At the time of this recording, the next person who subscribes will be my 3,000th subscriber, so that's pretty cool. Have a good one. Peace.